All right, so here we are again. Welcome everyone to Following the Signs, 501c nonprofit organization. And here we are again. And I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come into your home or office or even wherever you are to give me this minute to present to you a great opportunity to hear about my nonprofit, which is, again, I repeat, Following the Signs. And it's basically, for those who don't know, it is an organization that focuses on strengthening our community through its people. That's easier said than done. We have a lot of problems in our community, and Following the Signs is addressing them. One of the particular signs is mental illness, and our focus is on mental illness. And we have learned in the coalition group that I've developed at Following the Signs that it is very easy to get medication to people who need it. And we need to use that ease to solve some of the problems in our community. So the name of this organization is followingthesigns.org. So let's start off with some of the events that's happened during the week with Following the Signs. We've been involved in a lot of fundraising this week. We started off Saturday with a cookout fundraiser. It was located at Lucky's Charms and Supplies. That was at 6408 St. Clair on 64th. And it was a pretty nice turnout. We had cooks come in that obviously they knew what they were doing, because I don't barbecue as well as I like to eat barbecue. So we had a lot of cooks to come out to show us what to do. It doesn't take a lot of cooks to cook a hot dog, trust me, but you'd be surprised. People want to sprinkle seasoning on it and dip it in something and batter it and flip it and everything. So we had a great time. I especially had a great time because I learned a lot. We did raise a little money. We can always use more. We can always use more support. So feel free. We'll have another one this Saturday at St. Clair at Lucky's Charms and Supplies. That's on 64th Street in St. Clair. And we're going to be out there having fun. We're going to be having a great time. Also, Following the Signs felt it necessary to use the platform of the Lucky's Charms store in order to have a lemonade stand for the children in the neighborhood. Actually, it's not a come back to school. It's a I don't want to go back to school fundraiser. So we had more turnouts than the ones across the street that had the other turnout that they had. The I don't want to go back to school lemonade stand. So they generated a little income Saturday, and they're going to be out again. You're going to go out again this Saturday, and we'll be there early, and we'll usually stay until about 8 o'clock. So if you're in the neighborhood, please take the time to come out and support Following the Signs. Also, we have changed a few things. Our class is every Wednesday. And we were doing what the change is. Well, the change was that we were going in meeting every other Wednesday. But the group was having so much fun, and it's so exciting. And I had a great time. I always do. So we changed it to every week. So excuse me. Pardon me, please. So every Wednesday at Lucky's Charms and Supply, which is the home base for Following the Signs at this stage of our development. Every Wednesday, we're having a class where we talk about ways that we can impact our community through the use of herbs and the use of science. Because what we're doing is we're putting it together. And we want to get to the point where we can get this out to most of the people, if not all of the people in our community, because we know that this will help in a development. We've talked about a few of the different herbs. We talked about lavender for one time. We talked about the Peruvian ginseng, and that was very exciting too. And so the people in my class, we took some a collection. We bought ginseng. So now everybody is on the ginseng diet, and we're noticing the effect of it. And there is a substantial effect. Now, the more you use it, the more it's increased into your body, the better off it is for us. So we're putting it together day by day. We're getting ourselves together with other groups, the people who are interested in hearing what we're doing. There's a few, and we're coming together. Slowly but surely, we're coming together. So that's where we are at that point. So here's one of the issues that we talk about a lot. And the issue is about in our neighborhood, in our community, we see people that have issues of abandonment, of being, the abandonment anxiety issue is prevalent in our community. It's heavy because of the men and the women who don't stay long enough in the home life, or even in the community life, in the workplace, and they don't stay long enough. And when they leave, the impact of them is always placed on the other people. And so in a relationship wise, or a family relationship wise, that abandonment, it leaves devastating symptoms to people. So let's talk about some of that. So one of the fears of abandonment is the fear of just being alone. So if any of us have that opportunity and to be left alone somewhere and feeling that feeling of emptiness and that pain that comes along with that, then this is one of the issues that we need to address. So following the signs again, we realize that. Also, one of the problems is a loved one. And this is really prevalent in our community because we have so many trans relationships. Trans, by that I mean relationships that just meet up and then disappear. It's a one night, one affair thing. And believe me, that what we found in our community and what our coalition group have found is that once that happens, then that spreads. That same feeling of abandonment goes from that person that's abandoned to their friend, and that friend to another friend. And then it turns into a way of life. It turns into a thing. And in the community, what we see when we ride by and we notice these things is that a lot of people have that abandonment issue when it comes to love. So that tends to make them have a stigma in them. And it's a very painful thing. And what it does is it causes them to feel betrayed. There's a heavy amount of hurt there. There's a sensation of being forgotten. And we in our community, which is a community of a lot of people, minorities, we have this abandonment stigma, this abandonment anxiety of being forgotten. And it's a very painful experience. Now, what are some of the symptoms that go along with that? It's very important that we understand that we are all affected by what happens to one person, because that one person's going to trickle down and it's going to turn into a group. And then that group is going to turn into a larger group. And before you know it, it's the same. So it's that hurt and the pain that comes along with this kid's dad's not there, but this kid's dad is there, but this kid feels like this kid feels his pain. And you'd be surprised, a lot of the things that happen are effective in a way that it generates a anxiety effect. And that anxiety effect becomes a norm, and that's when the problems start. So one of them is the difficulty in keeping a relationship. Those of us that deal with abandonment issues, we have a problem keeping a relationship. Our problem is that we're always under the thought that this person's going to leave us. We're under the thought also that we're not good enough for this person. Because of our abandonment issues that have happened in the past, these abandonment issues come into every relationship that we ever come in contact with. Now, there's something we can do about that, but we have to realize that it's there. It's there whether you know it or not. It's there if you're in a room and a person that you really like a lot leave and don't come back. And then now it's on your mind, and it's on your mind to why this person didn't left and didn't come back, but they had their own personal reasons. But yet that doesn't stop the effect that it makes on us. That trickles down on the people around us, the people that we love. That abandonment issue that came from one person that we love impacts our circle of people around us that's love. When that happens, we go into a problem situation because now we don't trust anyone. Now there's a thing when we around other people, it's a feeling of mistrust. I don't think I can give you this because I don't feel that you will return it, or you won't return that feeling, or you won't make my situation as good as you said you were, or as good as you made for this other person. So with that being said, even in a job situation, we find that when there's an opportunity for us and we're qualified for, that opportunity is not given to us, maybe at a timely fashion, or maybe that opportunity is not given to us at all. There's an issue that happens with us. There's an anxiety that takes place. Sometimes it takes 8 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it only takes a day. But what we found out in our coalition, that when it takes a day, it's because you have implemented in your body the proper herb that deals with this mental process, this process of bridging that gap between depression moods of sadness to overcoming that mood. And so that's one of the problems that we have, is that we don't have the training necessary, but that comes with we don't have the feeling of doing it. So with that being said, our relationship now is in trouble because we're at a point where we don't really want to be a part of anything anymore. We don't trust each other. So with that, I feel like a person would feel that their back's against the wall. So now, instead of allowing a relationship or a friendship or whatever to grow, you tend to find yourself sabotaging it. And you're just sabotaging it because you don't want to feel that rejection. You don't want to feel that rejection. You'd rather see it fall apart. You'd rather see it break apart. You'd rather stand by and allow people who are in a position of trust, you would sabotage that trust, maybe even to the point of a criminal act, just because you don't want to feel the rejection that would come along with, and you see a lot of people getting along with one another and making friends. You're having a hard time with that, with making friends. So that's a very interesting thing. And, we're always watching for this in our community. We're always keeping our eyes open for how we can help curve that. So our group have come up with a few ways that we can change the dynamic of that situation. I've seen abandonment issues in real life. I've seen where people as a group band together under a regular, normal situation, right? And we see trust build, and we see love build in that relationship of the group. We see how working together happens in the group. We really feeling comfortable, and that comfort takes on a new meaning. It's a meaning of ultimate non-betrayal, to the point where you'll give this person your back. Okay. When I was coming up, it was a different thing. Like if I met a brother or if I met a sister and we had a conversation and the vibrations were the same and I felt what that person was talking about, I'd stick my hand out and I'd get 5 from that person. Well, in those days, if you slap someone's hand and give them 5, that wasn't a slap. That was a rite of passage. That was a commitment of friendship that you were a part of us now. You were a part of me. I feel you. I don't not trust you. Now at that point, I can easily say I can set myself up for an abandonment issue here. Because as soon as this person, like it is, well, let's fast forward it today. A group of guys that meet, slap hands. I'm going to get back to this group thing, what I'm talking about. And the guy would slap hands, and next thing you know, this guy would cross this guy out, and this guy might get killed. So all the group around now, they have issues here. They just lost a loved one. But what I'm speaking on is the fact that in those groups, when you have that type of issue of friendship, it grows. It grows and grows. And until life makes its necessary changes. And what I'm trying to say to all of you out there is that everyone has an opportunity to grow. Growing is a part of life, and it's a development process. It happens in experience. It happens with experience. The growth process happens. When we're around our friends, some grow faster than others. Some women grow faster than men. The thing is that once a person gets to that point of growth, if they're not careful, and this is for everyone listening, look around you, because in every situation that you're growing, there's an issue of someone around you feeling that you're abandoning them. Now, we find a lot of it in the entertainment field, when these guys disappear from their families for months, weeks, years, whatever at a time. No matter how much money they send, the money doesn't do any good, because the money's not good money. You know, they call good money and bad money. Well, in this situation, it's bad money, because the money is a resent factor. And part of abandonment is the ability to resent people. And I think that's one of the commandments. I'm not sure in what book it is, but one of the commandments is not to resent your brother. But in that resentment process, in that abandoned process, that person feels that your growth is not really a growth. It's a hate. And it's a turnaround hate on them. Now, they feel you could change that. They feel you can change that and get back to that person that you were originally. I think that doesn't make any sense. People say that everyone out here has common sense. One of the things I've noticed is that everyone doesn't want to grow. So you can't go around thinking that everyone is the same, because they're not. They'll see you prosper or change in a way, and then they'll feel that resentment, and that sabotage will come in, and they'll feel hurt, and you'll hear it in their voice, and that pain will take over. So that's one of the issues that happen with abandonment. Now, one of the things we need to be careful for, that was, for instance, that I happened to see for myself. And there's ways of improving it. But I just want all of us to be aware that in our community, the majority of the people that we talk to are carrying that anxiety. What Following the Science has realized is that the herbs that we grow, that we would like to see grown more of, once we process it and make it the way we want it to be, we can get these herbs out to the community. And we could bridge some of those problems that's going on in the minds of people that feel abandoned, especially in hard hit areas where there's no dad, there's no mom. I mean, there's no dad, and mom is, she feels a lot of issues of that. Men not being ready to accept 6 kids, 5 kids, men not being able to accept a drug addiction or an alcohol problem. And that could happen on either case, one or the other, one sense or the other. But what we're finding is Following the Signs is learning more and more every day about how we can impact our community, not just with the herbs that we feel we can use to help mental illness, but the beautification of these herbs in the community to cheer up a person who may feel down. You know, I notice when I'm up there, when I'm on the street, I always look at the people that's walking, because my dad told me a long time ago, he says, son, the streets talk. Well, I understand what he meant. What do you mean the streets talk? What does that mean? Then I learned that when I'm on the street, every person that I see has something to say. Now, you could walk by them and just say hi. They may just say hi, but there's a lot more that they want to say. So I don't get involved with them too much. I like the ones that when you walk by and say hi, they don't answer back. That's my guy. See, because he's been under abandonment so bad. He's been under persecution so bad that he doesn't even feel it necessary to communicate with you, right? Because he doesn't feel anyone's even listening to him. But the streets talk. And I want to hear what that young man has to say. So in a lot of cases, I always invite people and Following the Signs to come in and talk to us about what they've experienced. And even the ones I find the most interesting are the ones who sleep outside day and night. You know, I kind of feel the spirit sometimes dwells in those people. 24 hours they're outside, 24 hours they're in nature, you know, and that's what Following the Signs is trying to get a hold on. How nature helps us, how nature provides for them who sleep outside all night. How they look up into the sky and see a black sky and then look up again in the morning and see a white sky. And the way that they feel when they flex either one or both of them. There's something going on in the brain, and we deal with that. And it's so easy to stay on top of it. The thing is that we need more people to help. That's one of the things. And then we are looking for resources to help us develop what we found could help the community by helping them. Because see, what we've learned is that when you can help a person who's completely out of touch, it's so easy to help a person that feels that they are in touch. And all of the people we walk by and we say hi to, and they respond saying hi back, they have something to say too. And Following the Signs also talks to a lot of them too. See, what we do in Following the Signs is we give away popcorn. We give it away for free. So with that being said, the conversation that comes over a bag of popcorn is incredible at times. Well, we store this information that we get from people because the streets talk and they want to talk. They want to be heard. I mean, it's more than a sign. It's more than a symbol. It's more than waving your hand and saying hi. But it's getting down into that abandonment anxiety that's going on inside of people. And how can we get that curve there? Well, there's ways that we can treat that. One of the ways that we've learned is that it's time for us to be to the point where we're grown. I think the Bible says that when as if I can quote the Bible correctly, sometimes I don't get into quoting the Bible because I never quote it correctly. And I'm always getting people who would come in and say, you know, maybe you said something right or wrong. So I challenge anyone who says that I don't know the scripture the way it's written. And I'm here for that. I'll take it on the chin. It says when you're a boy, put it this way, something about being a boy, but when you become a man, you put away boyish things. And I mean, if anyone wants to get me on straight on that, that's fine. I'm right up there on St. Clair, 6408 St. Clair. You can come up there and tell me what I didn't say. And like I say, I'll take it on the chin. But in this, we're learning that in order to raise ourselves to a level of complete understanding, we have to treat our abandonment issues. One of them is to be our own best friend. Is to be our own communication with ourself, our inner self. Because the only friend that you have, like they say, me, myself, and I. So that's 3 people. So as far as you ever wanting to feel that you've abandoned, you know, what we do at Following the Signs is we try to let people know that you came in with 2 other people. And to address these people is to address them as a third party. And that's how we look at it. So the point I'm making is, if you can love anyone better than you love yourself, you got it beat. If you can love yourself better than you love anything on this planet, you're on top of it all. So that's one of the ways that we look to treat that symptom of abandonment. And then we have to go out and we have to realize that those pains that we've had in our past, they have to be healed. And following the signs found that these herbs help the brain to heal those wounds that has happened from abandonment at an early stage of our career, early stage of our life, and then stages after that in the development of our lives. We found that these herbs that we grow at Following the Signs, once implemented into the program that we have, will help us to heal these wounds, because they're there. We can live with the truth or we can live with the lie. So another one is this. We have to learn to live in a moment. We have to live in a proper moment. And whatever that moment is the time that we're around, whoever we're around at that time. I say proper moment because there's some moments that we don't need to be around, but yet we're there. So we don't need to pay too much attention to those moments. But these other moments, now it's not all the time that you have an opportunity to live in the moment. But if you can live into it at any time during the day, a good time, then that's going to be the best time. And when you enjoy those good times, those best times, you're living your better life. Remember, it only takes a moment to be happy. It only takes a moment to smile. It only takes a moment to make a friend. It only takes a moment to be someone's wife or be someone's husband. So things happen in moments, and we need to learn to live in those moments and keep them fresh in our minds. A lot of times photography is one of the ways that we've learned through Following the Signs that help us stimulate our minds to those moments. Sometimes in those moments, we'll see things that happen in nature that's odd. And in that time that we're with a significant other or with someone, a friend, we take a picture of that. And that picture of that honesty will always remind us of that moment that we're sharing with the person that we care about. So in an abandonment issue, if that person ever does leave, we still have a remembrance of that time. So those camera phones, we need to get them a clicking, because if we can get them a clicking, we can get our life a ticking. All right. So let's move on to one that I think is the most important, and this is from an Xavier standpoint. It is to validate yourself. Feel free to validate yourself. Make yourself the number one. Make yourself the all possible, the all knowing. That's what you want to know. You want to know how you feel about you. You want to know, are you in the right place at the right time? Are you the one that's the number one? You know, there was a song that came out. It says something to the effect, and all you song buffs can clean me up on this too. It says that we need to sometimes see what condition our condition is in. And a lot of times when it comes to abandonment, we need to dwell back on our condition. We need to come and do something to help it a little bit, because sometimes we have to live with those lies. Or sometimes we have to live with those truths. And then when we forced to be in those situations, it's good to check on that, to keep that strong, to make those commitments always necessary. So it's been fun talking to you today. Following the Signs is the name of our organization, and it's located in Cleveland, Ohio, Greater Cleveland. And we meet on St. Clair, 6408 St. Clair, every Wednesday. And we're going to have a cookout this weekend. And in closing, I'd like to say one important point, that our success and failure in our community and life hinges on winning and losing. We tend to believe that our community will make us better people and happier. But we are learning that that is not the case, and that is not the role of the community. We make ourselves better, and our community benefits from that. We can't fall into the trap that winning is all that matters. For the sake of our community, this is not true. Winning only gives us a sign that on that given day, under those given circumstances, we did very well. So we'd be crazy to think that winning is an all the time occurrence. So let's understand sometimes in winning is in learning. Thank you very much, and come back again following the signs. This is Mr. Lucky, your host. Have a nice day.